What's going on is Craving for Adventure. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell so when we do drop a new video, you will receive the notification letting you know that we have dropped a new video. Also, leave a comment in the comment section. It will be gladly appreciated. Anything to help the channel, gladly appreciated. With that being said, I want to talk about Rouvy. So, this off season, going into the off season, I made a switch to Rouvy, simply because this bike right here. So my son eventually got into this space, and it's been great for us both, allowing me to perfect my teaching skills. Just teaching your child, teaching your son as a man, it greatly improves who you are as a man. It sharpens your masculinity. It gives you purpose, and it allows you to see yourself in the areas that you may not realize that was transpiring, whether it was things that you did in your past as a child, adolescence, teenage, young adult, and even as an adult. So it's definitely a great experience, which is why I didn't even hesitate when he showed that he wanted to have an interest in buying a trainer, getting his bike, and getting him a lot of the stuff that I already have. So, that is why I ended up switching to Rouvy, because just the cost. The cost. I mean, I've spent money, didn't bat an eye about spending money, but I really didn't want to spend another, however much it was, $20 for him to be on Zwift with me. And Rouvy was offering 2 people to be on your account for $14. Like, do I spend $14 to be on Rouvy with him, having the ability to ride together, and we're just talking and going back and forth, helping him train and all that stuff, shortening his learning curve? Or do I spend $40 to do the same thing? It's like, okay, wait a minute. 40, 14, 40, 14. I think I'll go with the 14. So that's what I did. I went with the 14, and yeah. Do I miss Swift? Yes and no. So the one thing I miss about Zwift the most is the ability to, when you do a route on Zwift, you don't just simply stop the route once you've hit that mark number. It allows you to keep riding and keep riding. Rouvy doesn't have that ability. Rouvy is pretty much whatever miles it is, that's what you're doing, and you're not going past it. So that part I don't like about Zwift. I think there's only really 2 things that I said that wrong. That part I don't like about Rouvy. And there's only really 2 things about Rouvy that I really don't like, and that's one of them. I don't like the fact that you just can't continue riding a route that you've chosen on Rouvy and to keep going. I don't like that part. Of course, it costs less. It's great. Well, there's actually 3 things I don't like about Rouvy. There's not that many people on it, but they supplemented it by having as many as 10 virtual riders, so you're not like necessarily riding with yourself. But that's the other issue that I do have in regards to Rouvy, which was actually one of my biggest issues. But now I've just learned to embrace it and take it as, all right, I'm leveling up as far as digging in, pushing harder. So on Rouvy, you have this thing with it's only certain rides. So certain rides, it will what it'll allow you to do is have virtual riders on it. Other rides on there, you may not have a virtual rider ability. On top of that, those are generally rides where you're not going to be riding the scenery like you would normally. There's rides they have on there where it's all right, you're riding and it's showing you where you're at. Like so there's a dot there and it's showing you, all right, you're going through, so you're not even seeing any scenery, nothing. And then there are some rides where you do see scenery, but you don't have the ability to have virtual riders either. So the virtual riders, yeah, that just made me think of another issue. The virtual riders allow you to draft. So I will say the drafting on there is a little bit better. So the virtual riders well no, the drafting on Zwift is it's pretty good, except the fact that on oh no, it's good on Zwift. It's good on actually both. It sucks on Rouvy in regards to when someone passes you. And that's part of the issue that I did have, and I just now be like, whatever. The harsh reality is you're not going to be number one on that unless I guess unless you really spent a lot of time on Rouvy and learn how to beat the virtual riders. But in my instance, every single time when I'm doing a ride, if I'm pushing it, those virtual riders are gonna push too. So they're going, and I see that this happens more so when I choose like 10. I don't remember how it was when I was choosing 5 or less, but I left it on 10 because it was like, all right, it'll put you in the first 5, or it'll put at some point, and then it'll put you at the last 5. So anytime you overtake the first one, you'll see one virtual rider just his watts just bump up like at least anywhere from 150 to 200 watts more than what you're doing to catch you. So what sucks is it doesn't let you stay in front of them. So when I first seen it, it was like, all right, I'm gonna do more, just to see if I can maintain being in front. Nope, not happening. Because one of the issues with Rouvy is what it will do to that rider that's chasing you down. It's going, for some reason, once it gets close to you, like you're here and this is the assist person. For some stupid reason, once it gets about that much distance between you, you start losing watts. I don't care what you do, or I don't care what it is that I've done. Once they get here, it's like my watts, it does not allow me to do more watts than what I'm doing. And if they're here, it's over. It's over. So it'll just start nosediving your watts. And the minute it gets enough to where you're either on side by side or enough to where the draft can kick in for them, oh, your watts really tank. And it was so bad to the point to where I was taking my shifting to cog to do more power. Nope. Nope. Once they get that draft on you, I don't care what you do. I don't care how much power it is you think you're going to put out. It's simply not allowing it. Because what happens is, the reason why I say it's not allowing you to get that one. And this is what's happening when you have 10 virtual riders. Not only is it that person that's now caught up, they're also bringing 2 more riders with them. So even if you do manage to stay with this one person, what's going to happen is the second and third rider, who's then going to pass the person that's passing you, it's going to make it worse because now that draft is going to affect it. They're going to end up creating a draft on you. So it tanks it. It tanks it. I don't care what it is you're doing. It's not letting you get in front of it. And that's the one thing that before it was infuriating me. It was just infuriating, like, man, I'm burning all this. And it's still just not letting me do. And of course, you know how we do realistically on group rides, towards the end, depending on who you're with, we'll all try to burn that last match to see who will finish before each other, or who, if it's possible to be first. We'll burn that last match like it's an actual race at the end. So I'll treat that like that. And the mess was pissing me off like royally every single time, pissing me off to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna do this mess, man. I'm not gonna burn all these matches to try to be in front. So now I'm using it as all right, if I'm gonna do these miles per hour, and this is what it's seeing that I'm doing this miles per hour, now I need to be able to maintain such and such to stay on that wheel. So I will say, for those who have never drafted or are fresh into the game of drafting, I would suggest going the Rouvy route, because if you get dropped on rides and you find yourself not being able to stay with the pack, that thing is going to definitely teach you, if you have the mental capacity to will yourself to not fall off, you're going to learn it there. And I noticed it on 2 rides that I did since I've been using Rouvy. I noticed on 2 rides that I did out with some friends how I stayed with them on the wheel for the most part. Then there was a couple issues with my hands for some strange odd reason. I don't even remember why it was happening. I knew why it was happening. I was riding that bike, and I mentioned before, I never had an issue as far as the numbness and tingling, but I noticed those 2 rides, it was starting to be colder. So yeah, with it being colder, it was definitely creating an issue, and yeah, it was sucking bad. So that's how I kept losing ground. So yeah, but other than that, for the most part, that whole virtual riders, it's definitely keeping me to the point to where it's like, all right, I gotta stay on that wheel. I want to stay on this wheel. So I'm sure by the time I come out of this training, me staying on wheels, a lot of faster guys' wheels, should not be as big of an issue as before, because yeah, I'm now thinking that Rouvy, not so much trying to overtake, but just simply staying on the wheel and maintaining a position. Because it's definitely it's definitely gonna teach you that. It's either gonna teach you that or it's not gonna teach you that. It's gonna piss you off. It's just that's just what it is. And that's pretty much the biggest issue in regards to Rouvy. Um, I haven't did any training rides yet. I'm gonna actually end up doing a training ride tomorrow or today. See how that goes. Well, I don't know. Actually, I'm gonna see how I feel today because I did say on the previous video that I did, I ended up falling down the stairs. So I haven't really tested the leg because it was definitely hurting here. I don't feel it as bad as much, but yeah, it was definitely hurting here. And it pretty much felt like a contusion. So nothing when I was grabbing it. Yeah, it was like, no, it was just more so a contusion, like right under there. But I don't feel it like I did yesterday, so I'll probably be fine to start training. And I don't think that first training ride is much either. So yeah. And then my wrist was actually terrible, which is oddly enough, the only thing I feel on this hand is this mark here where it's to slap my finger in the door. Yeah, but we'll see. But as far as yeah, Rouvy, I don't think I did any. No, I didn't do any races on Zwift. Although there were instances where I was on Zwift and I knew that there were people doing the race, and there would also be times where people were in that big massive group ride, and I would be on there doing training sessions and just be out doing them for however long. I would actually push it to see if I can actually outdo them. But yeah, I do miss that on Zwift. I did see a race transpiring on Rouvy, and it was maybe like 10 to 15 people at the most. And I didn't do that because I was still trying to hit that the goal that I set, and of course I didn't hit it. But yeah, that was the only reason why I didn't do the race. But I wanted to do the race on that just to see what it was like. But yeah, Rouvy is definitely, I'd say, a work in progress. They got some ways to go, just simply from being able to get more people on there. It for the most part, it does function like Zwift. It does have some areas it needs to improve. And Zwift that does as well. I mean, there was stuff on Zwift that I didn't like, but I mean that's everything. You're gonna have whatever it is. It's gonna always be something on this planet that you just don't like about something. It's one little, even if it's just one little thing, it just is what it is. But for the most part, yeah, new users. Would I recommend Rouvy? Yes. If you're a newbie into the whole training world, I recommend Rouvy. I'll definitely recommend Rouvy. And if you have multiple people, you don't feel like paying $40 for two people or however. And then they actually Rouvy if I'm not mistaken, Rouvy has a deal where you can get like 5 people on there and it maybe like cost you like $40 or something like that. You can have 5 different accounts on your thing, and it costs you maybe like $40, 45 maybe. I wouldn't say more than 50, but even then it's like if every person just gave you $5-10 paying for itself, and it's like, yeah, nice. I mean, I actually thought about doing that, but there was a few people who simply just didn't get the bike. They had some issues that they were going to the bike they were going to get, and it didn't manifest. But yeah, you can't beat that, man. I mean, you simply just can't beat that price. And what they're giving you, I mean, it's worth what they're giving you. I'll give you that. It's definitely worth what they're giving you. Although there was another thing I did not like as well, and that was I need to check it again. I didn't like when me and my son rode, and I don't think I could see him at some. I might have changed the settings to that, but we ride the same route, and it wouldn't show him. It would show that he's near me, but it wouldn't show him on my screen. Unlike uh, Zwift. But yeah, it's kind of weird because when I was when I was doing a ride and I seen other people on there and I passed them, I was able to see them. But for some reason, the times that I did ride with my son, I never saw him. I never saw his avatar on my screen. But I did see it. It's like, oh, you passed such and such. Okay, that's weird. But whatever. Yeah, I like Rouvy for what it is. On the biggest thing that I'm missing out on is the racing. It's the biggest thing, and a lot of the guys I ride with are all on Swift, and it'd be nice to actually be able to do some races. So, like I said at the beginning of this, I'll more than likely see about that come March. See if I can actually do that after the training is over with. I'll probably do a follow-up video to see how the training goes, because I don't think I haven't engaged the what they call it, the RBG. I think that's what it's called. I don't remember what it's called. It might be RBG. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But I haven't did any writing on Rouvy yet that engages that. So I'm interested to see today what happens if when I do the I don't know, I might not even put this out. I might end up doing this training ride today and then turn around and come back and do this video. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. If all goes well, you'll know. Well, you won't know. You won't know because you won't see none of this. Or I may just come back and edit this and say, oh yeah, I came back and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, yeah, I don't, I'll see how that training ride goes. If it does like Zwift, then Rouvy's great. I will say Rouvy definitely is better at creating workouts. So I used to create workouts on Zwift, and after I did my training, I started creating my own routes, seeing how the guy I was training with and who created the plan for me. I started kind of doing some stuff similar to his and training other little different areas. So I went through all of that stuff, recreated all of those training things that he actually sent me, and it was a lot faster because Rouvy allowed you to, I don't know, I may go on there and just show you how it does. Matter of fact, yeah, I'm gonna come back and show you how the trainer rides are created on Rouvy, which I do love that the most. It was a lot better as in regard. Well, Zwift might have updated theirs, so I don't know. I haven't been on Zwift since the spring or whatever. Yeah, so I stopped it in the spring and yeah, whatever. So yeah, I'll go back on there and show you guys how I actually created the rides. Created the workouts on Rouvy, which it allows you to just click on each zone, and then you click on the zone and you can punch your numbers in there if you want to, as opposed to, I remember you had to drag them up or whatever on Zwift, and then I would take my pencil here, which I just clicked this on. I would take the pencil there, and then you'd have to pull up and pull down and make the little graph bars equal on there. You don't have to do none of that on Rouvy. It's definitely better creating a ride on Rouvy, by far. And it was a lot more proficient and saved me a lot more time. And I created 4 weeks so far. I created 4 weeks worth of training rides. So yeah, there was one. I think each week had like 4 or 5 or something like that, training rides I had to create. So yeah, it did not take all day for that. Just drug it up, boom, boom, boom. All right, how many watts? You type in the percentage, put the watts up, and then it allowed you to just click on it and type in the duration you wanted. And on top of that, it allowed you to copy it. So you could just copy, if you want to have, like, for instance, you got this zone 2 ride, and then you put in a percentage for how many watts for, let's say, 240. You wanted to do 240 watts, and you're doing that section for like 15 minutes. Well, you can hit that copy, but if you want to do that route, we'll do that section again after maybe a recovery, going down to like 150 for 2-3 minutes after that 15 minutes. Then you want to do that again, you just hit that copy button, and then they will put it right underneath it, so you don't have to recreate that whole thing all over again. So there were like certain ones where I had a thing of like 5, so you have to repeat it 5 times. So you just hit the copy button for the one section, and then the cool down section, copy. So hit the other one, copy, and it just cut down that time so fast. I love that, and which I was doing that, I want to either yesterday or the day before yesterday. So yeah, that was magnificent. Hit that again, magnificent. That was magnificent. Yeah. I don't know if Zwift has that option now, so I haven't been on it in months. But that definitely was a great option on Rouvy. So that's definitely one of my favorites on Rouvy as far as creating workouts. But I'll let you all know how the RBG goes in regards to training routes that you do on there. Yeah, because it's also different that when you create the workout, it asks you to pick a route that's on there. So I'm not sure how it's going to do that. But yeah, I'll find out sometime more or less today. And what I'll do is I'll edit this at the end, and I'll put that part towards the end. So yeah, with that being said, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Enjoy this off season if you're in the off season. Make sure you try to get better, and we hit these group rides or whatever it is you're training for, just to maintain fitness. At the next season that's coming up, that you get the goals and that you want, and whatever it is that you envision for your riding lifespan manifest for you. But yeah, be easy, be great, be magnificent, be blessed.